Peace, Detroit, District 7. This is Victoria Camille, your police commissioner, joining you again for the April 2026 Victoria for Your Voice scene. And today we'll be talking about Know Your Rights. And I am joined today with a very special guest, Ramis Wadud from the American Civil Liberties Union, or the ACLU. And we are joining you here from the historic and beautiful Rouge Park, right here in District 7. Ramis, thanks so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Thank you. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do for the ACLU?
So I am a staff attorney at the ACLU of Michigan. So my job mainly is to represent people in Michigan whose rights have been violated by the government. Nowadays, I focus mainly on victims of police misconduct and immigrants who have been targeted by the federal government. So on a day-to-day, it looks like filing lawsuits in court on behalf of victims of police violence, on behalf of people who have been falsely arrested or imprisoned or detained by the government.
Wow. That's really important work. I mean, representing a group of people who probably don't have a lot of resources to take care of themselves and make sure that their rights are protected. So thank you so much for the work that you're doing. So this month's zine is all about Know Your Rights, which is a broad topic. So it's covering things like Miranda rights and what do you do if you get pulled over by the police, immigrant rights, of course, First Amendment rights. And so the ACLU has this like growing and comprehensive resource kit online to help people understand what their rights are and what they should do. And we're going to be referencing that in the zine as well as at victoriaforyourvoice.com. So Ramis, tell us a little bit about why this even matters at all. Because we're busy people, we've got a lot on our minds. So why even worry about exactly what our rights are? And shouldn't different levels of law enforcement already know what our rights are and adhere to that anyway? Can we actually trust that that's happening?
Yeah, I mean, the simple answer is that yes, technically, police officers, whether that's your local police officer or a federal immigration agent, they're supposed to be trained on your rights. They're supposed to uphold people's rights as they carry out their law enforcement duties. But the reality, more and more so, is that police officers violate people's rights every day, or at the very least trick people into giving up their rights during police encounters. It's really the entire reason I have a job, is that what we see day in, day out is people reporting to us that their rights have been violated. So the very first step of understanding that your rights have been violated and standing up for your rights, exercising your rights, is to know what those rights are. And the good thing is that people, regardless of their age, their immigration status, regardless of where they live in the country, what their relationship to the government is that they have some pretty strong basic rights when it comes to interacting with police.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Yeah, I mean, I think about, as a police commissioner, I'm seeing various, cases that are coming through, and I'm thinking about situations like when someone's pulled over and maybe there's not enough evidence there to warrant the police to search the car, but they may say, can I search your car? And if that individual doesn't know that they actually have the option to say no to that, then they're just like, well, sure, and then now the officer is looking through their car and perhaps that person didn't have anything in their car, but they let somebody use their car yesterday, left something in there they didn't really realize. And now they're in this whole like legal system for something they didn't even realize was there. And so it could be life altering, to have your rights violated. And again, just really appreciate the expertise that you bring to this. It's serious business. So thank you so much for that. So in what kind of scenarios might someone reach out to you or the ACLU?
Well, what we hear about often is either someone or their family member, their loved one, reaches out and says, I just had an interaction with a police officer where, either something was, someone that I know was arrested, someone I know is detained, I don't know where they are, someone was just physically harmed by a police officer, something was taken from my home during a search or from my car during a search. And what we try to do is, for anyone who calls, we try to help them navigate a pretty opaque system, right? Like, you interact with police officers pretty frequently out in the city. But when it comes to actually getting caught up in the system, how do you navigate all these courts, all these different precincts, these police agencies? That's what we try to, as a first step, try to help people understand, is that where to go, who to ask questions to. And if, in talking to them, we realize, yes, your rights have been violated. Yes, you were a victim of misconduct or abuse or violence, then we help them seek legal accountability in some way.
Gotcha. Okay. And so, I've heard that like police legally can lie to you because you mentioned the word trick earlier. Is that the case? Like, can police actually legally lie to you as part of trying to get down to information that they need for their investigation?
Yeah, it's really unfortunate, but it is true, is that the police don't have to be fully forthcoming in their conversations with you. You mentioned a very common situation where a police officer asks you, "Can I search your car?" It's usually not just as simple as that sentence. It's usually a whole conversation about, if you have nothing to hide, we're not suspecting you of anything. We just want to take a quick look at what's in the back seat, or even more so, if someone, a police officer comes to your home, the same situation, just let us open the door. We just want to have a conversation. And what ensues is a much broader search, a much bigger search, a much more intrusive search. And so, oftentimes, what we advise people is that you don't have to consent to a search, whether that's in your car or that's at your house, unless a police officer is able to show a warrant that's signed by a judge that gives them permission to search your car, or unless there's some sort of emergency that a police officer can articulate that requires them to search your car or your house.
Okay, so in a situation like that, where you're being asked, can I search your car? The response should be, no, you cannot. I do not consent.
Right.
And then if they actually can search without consent and they do, then that won't be an issue for the officers. But at least like in a court situation, if it's documented that you did not consent and they searched anyway and they shouldn't have, then there's evidence that has to be thrown out in court, right?
Right. That evidence can't be used in court. So, we have a ton of people in our community who live with other people, whether that's people in their family, roommates, multi-family homes. If a police officer comes to your home, asks, we're looking for certain things in the neighborhood, can we search your house really quickly? And you consent to that, then anything they find in that home is technically proper to be used in court, because you gave them the ability, the consent to search the home. If you don't consent, if they push their way through and they find something that may not be yours, may not be someone in your family's, and they try to get you in legal trouble for it, then you can make that argument in court that I never gave this police officer permission to search my home, and the search that they did was not constitutional, and so they can't use that evidence in court, and hopefully that case will be thrown out.
Okay, thank you for that. Wow. So if someone needs to get in contact with you or the ACLU, how do they do that?
Well, there's multiple ways. You can go to our website at aclumich.org. There's forms you can fill out to get information to us, file a complaint, so to speak. You can also call us at 313-578-6800. We've also more recently, in light of a lot of reports about immigration enforcement, we've set up a hotline specific to reporting immigration enforcement misconduct. That's 313-208-7048. And that hotline will have the option for you to leave a message in multiple languages, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that. Well, everyone, we've been talking here with Bramis from the ACLU, which has just really been insightful. We're going to have so much more information in the Victoria for Your Voice zine, so check out that information. Don't forget at the bottom to click on check your knowledge. We want to make sure that you are absorbing this information, that you get it. And then if you forget over time, feel free to come back and check it out again, refresh your memory. We want to make sure that you are informed about what your rights are and that you know what to do if they're violated. Thank you so much. This has been another edition of the Victoria for Your Voice zine. Be safe and be well. Peace.